They're like, haha, look, he's holding a fork and he's waving it. I'm like, please, no.
Let's put the Dark Souls boss music behind this.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse, and Itisdpayne.
Hello, that is me, Itisdpayne. What if one day I was just like, hello, it is me, Hoppocalypse.
Plot twist.
Yes, we tricked you for however many episodes that is.
But yeah.
I'll just even switch up our screens in the thing. And that will be the one episode that everyone comes and sees, and it will be like our most viral episode, and then we'll go back to normal. It's like, wait, is this Itisdpayne or Hop? And it's just like, you'll never know.
Tune in next week to find out who's who. And every week we alternate.
Yeah, we just give different names. My name is John Cruz. I do my own eating.
I was expecting you to say stunts.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, but then I was like, I don't even like going outside. You think I'm... Okay, I saw a video of Tom Cruise doing his next little crazy stuff, and he rode a motorcycle to the edge of a cliff, and it's like, I know I didn't green screen because that man is like trying to kill himself on set, but I'm like, dude, he's gonna get to the level, and I know there's like, I don't know. It feels like in the recent years, opinion of Jackie Chan have changed, but it's gonna get to the level where you're gonna be like a Jackie Chan, where it's like you can't do these stunts anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's you're gonna break something. It's just, I remember he'll hang off the side of an airplane, and he's just like, yeah, that one was a little rough. It's like, yeah, no, dog, because you're supposed to be on the other side. You're supposed to be in it. So. I think he's also one of those people where they're like, yeah, we can't insure him anymore because he's too expensive to insure. So if he dies, it's on him. If he dies, he dies. Anyway, I got a fact for you.
Yeah, is it a Tom Cruise fact?
I can find one. You know what's funny? That this is something completely off subject, and I don't want to go into it. But it's like, there's, I feel like I was getting like Hop's whole celebrity news, but it's just like, it's not even about the celebrity. It's about some of the choices they made about a certain show that has come out on Netflix. I don't want to go into it because it's just like, it's very heated on both sides. But there's a side that I agree with about that Cleopatra documentary.
I'm not aware of it.
Okay, real briefly. It's so pretty much the creators of this Cleopatra documentary, whether like it's historical, it's factual, I can't remember the actress, but it's in short, the Queen Cleopatra is being played by a black woman, and it's just like that she was black, and all that's like what they have these people coming out just saying like, no, like she was black, and there's like all these facts and just that they're pulling up, and then the Egyptians, like all of Egypt is like, no, she was Greek. Like, okay, it's very historical, and I'm just
I am aware
oh
of
goodness.
This, I believe this actress has had some other weird behaviors not too long ago. Is this the same actress that is married to a man that slapped somebody else at an award show?
She's one of the creators. I don't think she's the actual... She's not the person playing Cleopatra, but I think she's like one of the writers.
One of the people pushing for this to be considered factual.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
And
this is the same actress that brought her husband onto her talk show and said, hey, I cheated on you because I needed it for me. So it's hard for me to align myself with someone who has that kind of personality type. I'll put it there.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I agree. I do believe everything I've read is that Cleopatra is either Greek or from another area in that area of Europe.
Mm-hmm. And it's so I've been like, I don't know, it feels weird saying against my will I've been getting all this stuff because it's just like, I don't know, once I hear like, because there's a lot of videos literally saying the same thing, but there was one I saw that they took clips and they're like, yeah, you want to hear these experts they have? And the guy is like, I imagine this is what Queen Cleopatra looked like. And it's like, imagine or fact? And it's just like,
you don't get both. You can't have both.
And then they bring on another one. She's like, in my mind, I see her with like long curly hair. And it's just like, you mentally see this or factually see it? Everyone's just like, what the heck? And so it's to the point where Egypt is suing the actress and this whole company for false, like,
why the actress? Is the actress also like a writer producer?
She's coming out very strong, saying it's just like, this is pretty much, she's saying that they're I don't want to misinterpret it, but it's like pretty much on the levels is like all of Egypt. I think this is hyperbole. Wow, I can't talk. The going to an extreme, but she's like saying that like all like people who are hating on this movie are racist and stuff. And it's like, yes, everyone in Egypt who is coming and like talking negatively about this, they're all racist for not letting us do this movie. And it's like, I think everyone's like, no, it's the fact that you said this is historically accurate. If this was just a normal series of like a fakementary, I don't think anyone would have a problem with it. But it's
I just see that an Egyptian lawyer is suing.
Yeah. I don't know. I know. I think an Egyptian lawyer is suing, but it's like I don't know. It's like I haven't read into it so much.
The articles are saying that he is specifically suing Netflix.
Okay. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. As I said, there's been multiple videos and like I half listened to them because I'm just at work and I'm like, I need something in the middle of Seven Moons every once in a while where it's just like I need to get my brain a little bit off of all this for a second. So yeah, that was my celebrity news that I still don't fully know everything about. I don't even know the actress. Like, I didn't know there's a Cleopatra documentary coming out until all this other stuff came out. It's not as exciting as, is this man eating his people? Or the people he's dating? I don't know. I still don't know how that story ends. I don't remember who the dude was. But
yeah, Macedonian heritage and likely fair-skinned. That's why I said like similar area. Maybe not specifically Greek, but
yeah,
that general region.
I was just hearing Greek a lot when people were talking about it, and so I don't know. It's just interesting. Like, I don't know. I kind of agree with like, hey, if you're gonna call it a documentary and factually correct, well, make sure you are doing the factual research, because there's other people who are like, yeah, the time period that Cleopatra in didn't even use the makeup that the makeup style and colors that they're using. They're like, yeah, we found this out. That's like way later or way earlier, not at the time that Cleopatra was alive. And I'm like, well, internet, yeah, I guess you're having fun. So, yeah, I don't really have like fun news. I guess if we want fun news, I found this person on TikTok that just goes crabbing in her videos, and then from that, the algorithm has given me like all these other crab related things, and I'm like, okay, I know what's happening when this girl catches the crabs. Like, I know, she's not hiding it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm like, I didn't need to like watch 100 videos afterwards of people like,
also crabbing.
Well, not crabbing, but just like the preparing and like cooking of crabs. Like, it's not like they're already like cleaned and all that stuff. It's them like
breaking it all down.
Yeah, breaking it all off, and I'm just like, it goes from like, this girl's just like, she is like the embodiment of like good vibes. If anyone's been in my streams, they heard me talk about this person. Like, she's just so happy, and she's like, I don't even like crabs, but my parents do, and so I go out crabbing and try to get them a crab or two. and all this stuff, and just in a good mood and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, I dig it. And then it's just like it goes to like this chef just like crab and then rips off like its shell, and I'm like, dude, the face is still moving. just
Chill out.
Where I even saw another video where it's just like, yeah, crabs are like the most hated species on Earth because everyone wants them and is like, everyone likes them, and at the same time is just willing to just do whatever to eat them. And I'm like, so, but I did find out that multiple times in this first person's video, because she explains multiple times almost in every video of what a male and female crab are like what to look at. You got to look at the bottom, its belly, and it's like the little nubby thing.
Yeah,
like,
where if you were to eat it, you peel it up.
Yeah,
because it has that apron kind of look thingy. Yeah. It's
like, I think if it's skinnier and longer, it's male. If it's wider and shorter, it's female.
Yes, I learned this because my family likes to eat crabs. And I know technically in certain states, you're not supposed to catch and eat female crabs. Because, if you eat all the female crabs, then the population isn't there. But so my family would go to this place and they'd be like, they have female crabs. We got to go there again. And I'm just like, I don't like crabs. I don't like to work for my food, and I feel bad because you guys are like, look, we're about to steam them, ha ha ha. I'm like, he has a knife in his hand, he's trying to fight back, please don't eat him.
Yeah, it's
they're like, haha, look, he's holding a fork and he's waving it. I'm like, please no.
Let's put the Dark Souls boss music behind this. It's like, you guys all laugh at that game with the crab with the gun, but it's gonna happen. Just you wait.
Yeah, because I think they've proved that lobsters feel pain, I believe. And then they've proved that octopus are sentient enough to dream. So Strider and I are slowly cutting out things. Like, we're not vegetarian, but we're also like,
Yeah.
Because of, I guess, like, technically we could get, if we had a little bit more money, I try to get, free range cow and chicken and stuff like that to eat. But lobsters, they're just like, hey, look, we put them in this little 2x2.
Yeah, it's what is it? There was a time, it was before like the egg shortage happened, but I remember at Aldi's they like messed up the prices or something, where the cheapo eggs cost like $1 or $2 more than the free range ones, and I'm like, I want to go get the expensive eggs. They're still expensive, but it's still $1 cheaper than that one. and it was like that for like 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm like, I can see why people buy these. These eggs are great, but I'm not going to keep spending like $4+. Well, now some people, depending on the whatever shortage and whatever
area, yeah,
they're just like, whoa. Wait, no, I heard in Hawaii it cost almost $10 for a dozen eggs.
Hawaii has a lot of import.
Yeah, import and stuff. Yeah, it's.
And then I know a lot of people are asking people to stop vacationing there because they're like, we don't have resources. We're not allowed to use water, and you're allowed to come here and take all our water.
Yeah, it's. Yeah. It's also like, I don't know. I know that's the next book I want to read. In my like. On Kindle, I forget what it is, but it's the book of like Hawaii and like its history and how it kind of was brought into America. I remember watching like a quick satirical video of it, and I don't know how true it was, but it was very much like, yeah, we're here and here's Hawaii, and it's like, how cool is this place? And then it's like, yep, and then all these rich people from America came over and were like, there's a good vacation spot, and just like, we're buying this now. And
yeah,
then
also
it's like,
Dole, the pineapple production company.
That might have been part of the rich people. I don't know. It's like been.
I forget the order of events.
It was a while ago since I watched this video, but it was like very satirical. But like, yep, this is how we got Hawaii, and I'm like, okay. And so, it's I don't know. I think it'd be There's a lot of places I like to visit, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to go visit when it's like really difficult to live there for the people who are there.
Yeah, it's that whole back and forth. It's like tourism is a large part of the economy, but then if you rely purely on tourism, it makes it hard for the people, the domestic lifestyle of people trying to live there. But we're here for Gravity Falls, right?
No, this is the hard change. We're not finishing Gravity Falls. This is Tough Times in America, another news podcast.
News to me. Well, guys, I guess I'm sitting in the audience too.
That's a good podcast title. News to me.
It's gotta be taken.
It has to be, but it's just like we each can come with our story. Oh my good. Okay, guys, this is the last episode of Pointless Discourse.
That's News to Me is already a podcast.
How about News to Me? Just like how someone put the in front of Pointless Discourse.
And they got to claim it.
I was like, you butts. I don't even think they still do stuff.
That's News to Me was a comedy podcast that ended in 2021.
No, it's done. Up for the taking.
Because they had 20 episodes, and their last episode was I didn't know it was the season finale.
That's a good one.
I didn't know there was a superhero called Benjamin Two-Face. These are fun titles.
Mm-hmm. A lot better than ours. And I feel okay saying that because I'm the one that names them. And every week I'm like, I don't know what to name these. And it's very obvious I don't know how to name them because everyone can see very clearly when I switched from coming up with a fun title and just putting the title episode of the one we're talking about. But okay. Oh, so well, let's do this. Fun fact. You ready for a fun fact? Off these not so fun facts. Are you ready for some news to you?
Oh wow!
Yeah. Segue. Wendy was inspired by the first girl who ever talked to Alex. So, while several people have contributed to the creation of this iconic character, Alex said that the first girl to ever talk to him when he was 11 initially inspired Wendy. Eventually, the creators combined the traits of the most chill people they knew to come up with this character.
Yes, that is very fitting for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good growth episode. For anyone wondering which one we're on, we are on Season 2, Episode 2, Into the Bunker.
Into the Bunker. Now I want to watch Into the Woods, which I know is another people have problems with it. But I don't know.
I am going to prepare to roll my dice before we end up on another topic. Because I finally pulled us back in.
I'm going to pull us back out.
All right, no peeking.
Oh, no.
Anyone who's watching on video via YouTube, you can see me roll my dice app on screen. No, I hit the button. Okay.
That could go either way.
It could go either way.
I'm covering the screen. Hey, there's me. But not Hop because my hand's in front of it. I rolled a 7. Oh, that's 2 weeks in a row for you.
It looks like a 7, just with a little stubbier bit.
It's an amputated 7. Okay, well, good thing I brought the transcript. I feel like this episode goes pretty fast, so
it's a pretty straight. There's not branching storylines in this one, which is the first one in a while where we haven't had branching storylines.
Yeah. Which I feel like the ones I gotta explain. It's really funny because like the ones you explain, I think like it's a lot like concise and shorter of like explanations, and then I feel like some of the ones I normally get are like, then there's this, and then there's this thing, and then there's this other stuff.
Mabel has her plot, and then Grunkle has that plot, and then Seuss is over here, and Dipper is shouting in the corner.
No, Dipper doesn't shout in the corner. He'll shout in people's faces.
Grumbles.
Fuck! Sorry, audio listeners. I just looked how I clipped that. Anyway, you'll have fun with that about 19 minutes in. Any poops. Yeah, so I almost said Into the Woods. Into the Bunker. This episode, we start off with I didn't realize it. They do say their names. Trixanda, and Chadley. Kind of just very scared and running away. He's like, I thought William was dead. He's like, no, nearly almost dead, but not quite. Talking about who they're being chased by. And they're screaming. And we realize we're watching a different show. That's Dipper and Wendy watching TV together. As they're like, man, this is a lot less scary when we fought real zombies. Take that if you didn't watch the episode before this one.
Do your homework.
Yeah, like us. Our self-prescribed homework. But yeah. And so like Wendy's like, this is ridiculous, just power walk away from them, and they're just all having fun. Just talking, and what was it? It's like, how much do you want to bet that guy dies first? And then there's just chomping noises coming from the TV as Chad's like, my face has been eaten a lot. So while they're all having this fun, Wendy's phone goes off, and she's like, oh goodness, another text from Robbie, and Dipper's like, pretty much, hey, how's that going? Not that I'm here, blah, blah, blah.
I'm totally not, trying to ask for a specific reason.
Yeah. And then Wendy just shows him the text where it's just like, yeah, just like a winky frown, just him like standing in the rain sad. And he's like, as Dipper, as we're just like, you're not talking to you guys, are you?
Are you like, dating somebody?
Are you interested in a younger variety? And then when Wendy's like, of course I am. And then in my head I was like, I didn't remember that part. And then pulls her little walrus plushie over. It's like, my new boyfriend.
Sweet.
Yeah. And there was like, yeah, oh, okay.
Yeah, totally, yeah. Mm-hmm. I saw that coming.
And you won't go on mystery hunt? That's not what I wanted to ask, but do you?
Conspiracies and that.
Yeah, and she's like, yeah, I've been wanting to do that for a while. And Dipper's definitely like, oh, as he like pulls out another letter. Don't know why, if you're trying to keep that hidden, why you pull it, the note
next
out.
to her.
Yeah, just like, either Wendy is the most unobservant person, or Dipper's just dumb.
I mean, we do kind of get an answer.
Yes. It was foreshadowing.
Dun dun dun.
Yep. So, and then he's like, meh. And then he's like, yeah, it's all we'll ever be, just friends. Whatever. And, yeah, so then we go to the theme song, to where we see Stan just, like just telling people, like, hey, fix this stuff. And he's like, hey, be careful of the totem pole. Or he just called it totem pole, but they're realigning the totem pole. He's like, be careful, that's genuine plastic. And, yeah, he's just pretty much telling all these repair people coming, and the workman's just like, so what caused all this damage? I need to write a report. And big woodpecker. And pretty much Stan just bribes the workman, the contractor, pretty much with money. And well, I guess that's what you bribe people with most of the time. But yeah, just shoves a lot of money into his pocket, which it's just like, now looking at it, I'm like, dude, the amount of times he never wants to give up money, it's just like, it's just like paying hush money. It's just like, I don't know. Now that I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, that might be a little bit of a bigger deal than I thought when I was watching the thing, where he's just like, don't talk about what's happening here. Just fix the thing. Get out of my face. Yeah, under my eye patch. And then he's like, oh, okay, he's like, where do the kids go off to? As it shows Dipper, Mabel, and Seuss all standing in front of a tree that we actually see in the previous episode with the black light. In the journal of how there's a like hidden base or something like that. And so they're like, yeah, this is what we got to do. And now we just got to, pretty much we got to find this hiding place. And then Wendy shows up just saying, yeah, just chop the tree down. And everyone's like, Wendy, yeah. And she's like, okay. He's like, I've been wanting to do this. Like, let's go do this. And he's like, Pete's picking up after my dad at home, as it cuts the manly Dan just like knocking his head on the ceiling constantly over and over as he breaks the foundation of his house. Who
put that wall there?
Yeah. And he said that, I'm like, I he's not saying that ironically. He's saying that unironically and very mad. But I'm like, I say that as a joke whenever I run into stuff. Where it's like, who put that there when I very obviously put that there? So yeah. So Wendy's like, thanks for the invite. Dipper is all like, oh, and Mabel's like, oh boy,
I see something.
Yeah, and Mabel gets romance vision and Dipper's like, no, I'm over it, stop it, let's just move it forward. Just like, all I want to do is find the author of this journal. And Mabel's like, yeah, okay. And was it, allow me to put on my skepticals. She puts.
Does she do the upside down hand, or does she just do this? I forget.
I can't remember. Yeah, she looks through her. She puts her pointer finger and thumbs together in circles and like looks through them as she's like, yeah, oh, and Dipper's like, dude, you should just move on. I have, and it was just like skepticals. So, while this is all going on, Wendy's like, does that branch kind of look like a lever? And it shows it. Shows it and is like, yes, that is very obviously a lever
because there's like a metal plate behind it and everything attached to the tree.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of this tree. I don't know if there's a bunch here, but I know when I went up to upstate New York, when I used to live up there, there would be fake trees that were playing there, and they were very obviously fake trees.
Was there a reason they had fake trees?
Yeah, there was. So I think there was a few different reasons. I think one of them was just like, no, because they weren't high enough for radio signals. But I think if I remember correctly, it might have been like shortwave thing for that, but I want to say that it was also kind of like set up as a trap for this like type of bug that was invasive and could ruin trees or something like that. And so like there was something that they would put on this fake tree that would naturally attract this bug or whatever it was and would kill it pretty much.
Oh.
I think that's what it was. This was like almost 10 years ago. But I remember seeing the fake trees on the way up to Saranac Lake Placid area.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then again, it could also have been like for radio. It might have been both. I don't know. No one quote me on that, or do. I will. If I'm wrong, I'll say, well, you're dumb. Anyway, so yeah, Dipper goes and he's like, okay, what do we need? A ladder and all this stuff. He's like going, like turns around and it's like, yeah. Ladder shoes. That's what he goes on about all this, all while Wendy is climbing up, using her belt to climb up, and hits the tree with her axe, and activates the thing. She's like, yeah, and everyone's like, whoa, pretty cool. And she kind of shares that, like, yeah, my dad made me complete lumberjack games when I was a kid, and I guess I kind of ruled at it. And then the tree starts to shake as the ground falls away and stairs. It pretty much, the ground sinks, and Wendy kind of falls out of the tree into a bush. They pull her out, and all these steps. It reminds me of like a Skyrim dungeon. It's like the ground falls away, these wooden planks come out, which I'm like, how long was that wood there in the ground? Like, that didn't rot? Okay. I guess it was only 30 years, but anyway.
That's still,
like, if it's untreated, I don't know. But anyway, they go down, and it's like this. It's they go in there, and it's like, what does Dipper say? He's like, wow, it's like a fallout shelter or something. As there's right above his head, a fallout shelter.
The sign, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, he just doesn't look up.
Oh no, Wendy has the poster. That's what it is.
Yeah, well, it's like, as he's saying it, it's very clearly on the
right
wall
there
behind him, like, fallout shelter. As when he's like, oh, I'm taking this and putting it above my bed. As Mabel puts her head in a barrel and comes out with woolly bear caterpillars all over her face. And she's like, my face feels fuzzy. and they like pretty much Dipper's like, man, this is really interesting, but like, what kind of disaster would you need supplies for over 60 years? Which I guess now it would be 50 years. I'm like, I had to do quick math, and I don't know if I did it right.
Yeah, because they all expire in 2070.
Yeah, 2070. And Seuss opens up a weapon locker, and he's like, oh, Schmez dispenser. And he's like, I remember these things. And he's like, watch that? Well, yes, I'll have some of your old-timey face food. Ew, dusty. And then keeps eating them. But yeah, they find like an open can and all this stuff, and they're like, I think he's like, and they're like, oh, the author of the book should be down here still. Where Wendy pretty much observes like pretty much Shawshank Redemption. There's like wind blowing behind this poster, and it's the vault door is open, and I need to take a quick drink of water.
Hydration break.
Yep. If you're listening, you better take one too. Otherwise, we'll come through the earphones and just say, "How dare you!" Yeah. So they pretty much didn't notice this, but apparently, in the transcript, they thought it was important enough to mention it. That Gravity Falls. They pulled out a map of Gravity Falls from 1982, revealing a hatch cover, and it goes into this like room. And I never seen Hellraiser, but it's like, don't they have a room that is like just a bunch of like symbols in it?
I watched the old Hellraiser, not quite that I can remember. I watched it I'd say pretty recently.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, it's nothing. The funny enough, it's like when I was watching, I wasn't thinking of Hellraiser, but it's just like I don't know why.
You got the vibe.
Yeah, because like. Yeah, isn't the whole point of Hellraiser? I haven't watched it, but it's like they like people just constantly being tortured in afterlife.
It's the particular premise for the old one is that there's a guy, I don't remember what his name is in it, but he's called like the uncle or something, and he has gross proclivities, and he ends up to a point where I think they phrase it in such a way where he's like, he could never get enough to get fulfilled. You know what I mean? Like, he had to keep pushing the envelope to feel like what he wanted. And he ends up on the Cenobites, and he gets in contact with them because they promise him infinite pain and pleasure. Like, you get both everything. And he goes, oh, I like both of those things. And it's his niece ends up stumbling upon finding all the stuff that he had claimed, and then the Cenobites are like haunting the house and stuff, and haunting the house is a word, but yeah, he does end up getting reanimated, and then they want to come and reclaim him. So he does get tortured infinitely, but it's because he was like, sign me off, give me the contract. I haven't had enough in my living life. Let me see what it's like in the afterlife.
Oh, real quick, since we brought up movies, I meant to ask this earlier. How was The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent? Did you end up watching it?
Yeah, we did watch it. It was fun. It's very much like a second chance movie. You have Nicolas Cage playing himself as some guy who's like miserable to be around because it's the whole like Hollywood star, I care more about my job, I'm in the middle of a divorce, but because I'm in the middle of the divorce, my family is fighting with me and I'm spending all my money over the divorce and not living at home. And then he wants to make it as an actor and be famous again, and he's like rewatching old movies of himself. So he decides what he's going to do is he ends up taking on the $1 million job to go to attend a birthday party for a super fan. And then he gets roped into essentially the CIA. And then it's the whole second chance thing where you watch him realize, oh, as much as I love my job and acting, I actually love my family. Like, so it's cute and it's funny. A little bit of action. The action is secondary.
I do want to ask, because I'm like, well, I have to do my laundry and other stuff, so maybe I'll watch it, because Hop reminded me that we still have stars.
That'll come in handy for our next watch stuff, probably.
It will. It will still come in handy, but I forgot that we had it. And even though every month or so, there's like, hey, you paid for this, and I'm like, I should probably cancel that.
Yeah.
But it's whatever. Is the meme actually, is that like a cut from the movie?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, maybe I'll watch it as I'm doing my laundry and all that jazz. But anyway, and if anyone's wondering, well, Dpayne, how did that link? Well, we went from the room that falsely reminded me of Hellraiser, a movie I never watched. Hellraiser's in Dead by Daylight. It was also coming to Dead by Daylight, Nick Cage.
I did hear about that. I did have someone send me that.
Yeah, which means, and people are like, I hope he's the killer. All right, back to the movie, because
to the show.
Yeah, the show, because I'm looking, and the time that Hop said needed to be done, we passed already. So anyway, they get pushed into this room, and Mabel, like, everyone's being careful. Very, like, Seuss and Wendy very clearly step over this button in the middle as Dipper steps in. He's just like, everyone's like, oh my goodness, this room is weird, creepy. And Mabel's like, not as creepy as Dipper's internet history. Hey-o! And I was just like, what does it even mean? I don't want to know what that means. As she shoves Dipper, and he hits the very clearly square that nobody wanted to hit. And then it activates the room as all these symbols start to glow, and the wall begins to shrink, or not, the walls begin to, like, different sections begin to close. I don't know. I remember this from something. I don't know. It
gives me an Indiana Jones thing. I could check the list of illusions.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's not that it's this unique concept, but it's just
they don't have any specific reference.
Yeah.
It just says the layout of the bunker and its entrance are a reference to the video game Myst, which I didn't play that puzzle game. I know that's an older puzzle game.
I want to play it, but at the same time, I kind of like myself a little bit.
You're not gonna force yourself to go through that.
But it's still it's gotta be some sort of millennial thinking, because it's I hate saying what the line that just came out of my mouth, but it's gotta be something, because I remember seeing this game when I was younger, and when I was young, because my cousin had it, I never understood it. And now, me, who likes playing, these kind of mystery kind of things, I'm like, do I want to try it? When it goes on sale, do I want to pick it up? Thankfully, I don't. But anyway, everything with, it's different. It's pretty much I guess if you guys haven't watched the episode, which, thank you for listening to this episode. It's imagine walls that are Rubik's cubes,
just randomly.
Yeah, just or a grid, and then as this button was pressed, different cubes on the walls begin to slowly close in towards each other. And as they do that, they're Dipper, what do we gotta do? And he finds it, and finds this page labeled security room, thankfully. That would be a bummer if that was in journal too, because then this would be a very short season. And pretty much shines the black light on there, and then it's quick, there's everyone step on these 4 different things, and they find all the symbols, press it, and at the last second they all get out as Dipper's vest gets caught in the room a little bit, just a little bit, and they're all like, oh my goodness, we made it out, yeah, and everyone's okay, and they're looking at this room as they're in this security surveillance room. There's it looks like an open closet in the back wall, and there's it looks like Grunkle Stan's room for observing his big glowy triangle thing.
Mm-hmm. But this one looks more abandoned.
Yes. And so everyone's just wow, look at all this stuff, and Zeus takes beakers and puts it in, look at this, and his eyes go whoop. Mabel goes and says, oh, you forgot your vest, and pulls it over as the note falls out. and that he crumpled up, which somehow became folded and got all the creases out. And she reads and is like, "Oh my gosh!" And Dipper's like, "Look what I found!" And Dipper's like, well, I'm a little bit more emotional than I'm gonna say, but in the gist of it's like, "Dude, what are you doing? Just give me that. Stop it." And Wendy's like, "Oh, you do like her." And he's like, "No." And with this line, it's like, I don't know, it's a line that I don't think a 12-year-old would have, which is just like, I just embarrassed myself and be another guy she hates like Robbie. And I'm like, okay, that's still like
pretty mature.
Yeah, it's mature, but like, I don't know, it's like at the same time it's like I know some people would probably have a problem probably have issues with him thinking that way, like Mabel. I need another drink.
Today's not your day, is it?
Nah.
The dice decided.
Yeah. Well, like I noticed this yesterday, like at the end of my stream, where like I was getting the same thing. So I don't know. It is what it is. But thankfully, we don't have too much more. So anyway, Dipper tells Mabel, just stop, okay? I don't want to do this. Like, but anyway, yeah, it's like yeah, like don't.
Mabel was like, "Were you gonna tell her today?" And he's like, "No, I'm giving up on the idea of it."
Yeah. Dee. Anyway, and Mabel's like, "I am gonna do this," and like Mabel's like, I guess it does make sense because Mabel wasn't in the room with Dipper and Wendy where she got the text message, and it's like, I don't know. One is definitely like younger. It definitely feels like the younger thing's like, no, just do it. Just do the thing. Just tell her. And Dipper's like, no, I don't want to lose the friendship. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, Dipper's like, stop. And Wendy's like, dude, you got to check out this weird metal closet. And she steps in and says, I am a robot. I have a metal closet. As Dipper's like, hey, and then turns to Mabel, this never happened. And then I just like this part of just the face Mabel makes of like, and her internal monologue of just like, he wants to tell her, but he's scared. But maybe he just needs a little push. Good idea, Mabel. Thanks, Mabel. And then just, but she has like this like scrunched up face, like
look, yeah,
like, and yeah, she's just like, brother, whatever happens, I just want you to know this is for your own good. And Dipper's like, what? And shoves her in the closet and closes it, and just like Mabel just yells, just like, let us out, pretty much, like very like, and Mabel's like, no, Nada, and you tell her what you've been wanting to. And Wendy's just like, what's this about? And then the great, I also just like this, Mabel's been eating raw sugar packets again.
Bringing it back to the
fun dip or whatever it was, as it cuts to Mabel eating raw sugar packets. Like, that's besides the point. So yeah, Wendy just pretty much like, Dipper's like getting angry. Wendy's like, no, are these the lights? And pretty much they get decontaminated as like water and steam and all this other stuff just sprays all over them, and they get the door behind them opens up into this huge underground like experimental place. Like there's broken tubes and all this stuff, and like all these tunnels and everything. And like, okay, who is this? And they're like, as they hear this growling noise, and they're just like, Dipper's like, they're like, what the heck? Freak out, run back, start banging on the door, like, okay, Mabel, let us out for real. And she's like, haha, the only monsters are your own inner demons, Dipper. And Susan's like, that's a wise dude. And so Wendy's just like, just tell her whatever Mabel wants to say, she'll let us out of here. And it keeps getting fresher, and Dipper's like, I'm gonna find us another way out. And pretty much they run down to a dead end as they see this giant, like, kind of centipede creature shadow thing. And then a dude just appears and, like, just like, back, beast! And
beats it up.
Yeah, and just rips off the tongue, and he's like, then there's this line, back, you heinous beast. And then walks forward in the view. Well, I just ripped out a monster's tongue and throws it down. So they go, and Dipper's like, oh, it's the author. And the dude's just
the thing to note, though, the guy ripping out the tongue of the beast, we only ever see the shadow of the fight happen.
Yes.
Will be important in a little bit.
Yeah. So, but yeah, as they title him, the unknown man is just like, yes, but he'll regenerate. Let's go down here. And he's like, I've been down here for a very long time. Years, weeks, maybe. I miss orange juice. Like, okay. Dipper's like, this is the guy we've been looking for. And Wendy's like, wait, he's the guy? And he's like, it's the guy. And the dude's like, the guy? And so Dipper just starts listing off all these questions and all this thing. And the guy's just like, I love to discuss this, but we have more pressing matters. And he's like, one of my experience is a shapeshifter, and it's like takes around the form of anything it sees. And pretty much like, yeah, it broke out of this solid steel cage and like pretty much gone half crazy trying to catch the creature alone. But now you're here, and will you help me find him? Dipper's like, yes, an adult that needs my help, of course. While we go back to Mabel and Seuss, they're like just Seuss puts on a lab coat and is like, did you think I look smarter with this coat and briefcase? I feel like I look smarter. And Mabel just is pressing buttons on there, like on this thing, and it's just like, look at this, frozen, unfrozen, frozen, unfrozen. As she sees this like paper, and she's like, experiment 210, the shapeshifter, and like what I think it says, it doesn't have what's written there, it was like extremely dangerous, don't let out, or whatever it is.
And it's supposed to be in cryo.
Yeah, and they're like, as Mabel and Seuss are like, wait, wasn't there a monster in there with them? They're like, I thought they were joking. Seuss like, you know, Dipper's jokes are terrible. and so they try to go in as Wendy, Dipper, and the man all go deeper into the cave. And they're just like, yeah, there's got to be a way, some sort of weakness we can exploit. He's like, I had to use my research, but I lost my journals many years ago. And Wendy's like, journals? And Dipper's like, yeah, we found one. He's like, wait, what? And he's like, let me see that. And he like turns his back to him. He's like, ooh, pretty much. As Mabel and Seuss come back in, and it's like, Seuss like, wait, it's so dark. How will we ever be able to find them? And Mabel's like, I got this. And presses her sweatshirt as the light bulb on her sweatshirt comes on. As Seuss is like the most adult thing he probably has said in the whole show. Although, isn't electric clothing like kind of like a fire hazard? It's Mabel's like, no, it's a fun hazard. Let's go. And they go forward, and like this man is like, ooh, yes, it's all here. And Dipper's all excited because he can theoretically help the author. As Wendy kind of pulls open a can, just like, uh-oh, and just like, hey, look at this. And it's hands him a can of Baron's Num Nums High Flying Beans. And the picture of it is the author. The
same
image
likeness.
Yeah, it's just the image that they saw. And like on the transcript, it went from unknown man to Baron Num Nums. Where we see like very much Men in Black eye blink. Pretty much in just like
different eyes. Boop, boop.
Yep, they come.
Oh no, it's the sideways.
Yeah,
yes.
they blink sideways. As he finds out he's been told, and like Dipper's like, I'm a journal back, and he kind of transforms into like this weird spider thing. He's like, you're not going anywhere, and rightfully so. They scream. They go into their true form, and like, how do you like my true form? Go on, admit it, you like it. And Dipper's like, what do you do with the real author? And then I didn't catch this, but reading the transcript, he's like, you'll likely never find him. That six-fingered nerd hasn't been himself in 30 years. I heard the 30 years part, did not hear the six-fingered part.
Yeah, I missed that as well.
But he's like, but I do. I mean, yeah, thank you for bringing me his journal, and yeah, and it's pretty much like he wrote about it when I was in the cage, and then like he begins like going through all the different forms, such as the Grimloblin, the gnome, and then the hide behind. Is there anywhere to watch this hide behind thing?
If you click the link, it's like a shadow that glues itself to it, like spaces. So it's like,
okay, it's just a picture. I think the first episode is the hide behind, but it's like it's a short.
Oh yeah, it's an animated short between the seasons, but it also says it comes up in an episode much later.
Yeah,
the second to last episode.
Yeah. I don't know. I wonder if it's like on YouTube or something. But anyway. Yeah, so anyway, Shapeshifter goes into a bunch of different forms, and they just like pretty much say run. They get to a cut in the things, and like as the Shapeshifter turns into a giant pill bug, just begins rolling after them. Dipper tricks it by throwing a flashlight down the opposite tunnel they're gonna run down. Which causes the monster like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get you, and then they run into each other, and and Dipper and Suze, like Dipper, Suze, Mabel, and Wendy are all like they run into each other, and then Dipper's like, wait, how can we know that they're not the shapeshifter? And Suze's like, maybe I am. Mabel, inspect my shape, and they're just pokes, and they just keep poking each other, and Dipper's like, yeah, it's them. To where he knows that Wendy's bleeding. And he's like, yeah, it's all cool, don't freak out. And pretty much explains the whole thing that's going on. And it's just like, we got attacked by shapeshifter, once Dipper's journal, which they got back. I didn't say that. Like, I forget what they do. Wendy hits him with a can of beans.
Yeah.
And he drops the book. Dipper grabs it, and they run out. And it's so everyone's like, what should we do? And Wendy's like, well, it took us to his home, tricked us, and tried to destroy us. I say we return the favor. And then the shapeshifter doesn't seem very smart because he goes back into the form that they already know is him. He's like, pretty much like, Dipper, my boy, come out. And he's like, as he just constantly keeps shifting. It's like, reveal yourself, you single-formed human weaklings. As Mabel and Dipper's just like, oh man, that sure got some great monsters in that book. And then the shapeshifters are like, oh, 2 of them, and then pretty much makes a cat dog spider version of Dipper and Mabel.
It reminds me of The Thing.
Yeah, except a lot more, a lot faster. So Dipper and Mabel run. Oh, and something that like it's very clear that they show it. There's like this tube, there's this H2O, like, or this metal pipe.
It's like rusted and
yeah, so they run there, and Suze and Wendy open up the valve, and like the water's not coming out, and then like at the last second, like Wendy like kind of jumps in to fight the shapeshifter with her axe.
Yeah, because it last minute took Dipper's journal with his long gross tongue.
Yep. And so Wendy goes like full action hero, jumps on, just has all this fight as Suze finally turns it far enough to the water to burst out, like just almost drowning everybody. Don't know where the water goes. That's not important.
It drains somewhere.
Yeah, it drains down one of the many tubes. And so pretty much it gets to the point where we go, as the water drains out, we see Dipper. He picks up Wendy's axe and then sees Wendy lying on the ground like unconscious, and he's like, oh no, is she dead? And then expresses his feelings just like, I'm sorry, and just like, I'm in love with you, Wendy. And then it's just like the awkward camera pan as Wendy's like, Dipper?
Behind him.
Yeah. And he's like, wait, what? Then who's this? As the shapeshifters just like gets up and they start attacking as the shapeshifter still in the form of Wendy. And he's like, I don't know who to attack. The normal, whenever there's a doppelganger, is like, who's the real one? As they both do.
The look at Dipper.
Yeah. So the shapeshifter gives him a wink, like, it's me, buddy. As Wendy does the zipper lips, which is the thing she's been doing since season 1. And Dipper's like, not for me. You know what? It's still one of those things where I'm like, I don't understand the mindset anybody could get into to just take an axe. Like, it's in multiple things. Not, I'm just saying axe for this, but it's like whenever there's a doppelganger thing, it's like there's so much like mental limits that person has to come up over to literally kill the carbon copy of the person that is like your friend, wife, husband, whatever. In
Dipper's case, person he's in love with.
Yeah, madly in love with, but it's still like you still could be wrong. It's like, I don't know. It's like, I feel like that's not mentioned enough. But at the same time, it is a kids' TV show. So I highly doubt it's going to really focus on this is the problem with me playing a ton of Call of Cthulhu. Just like, there is mental like feedback and like consequences to what you did. But anyway, he hits the right monster. Or that's not what I meant to say. The monster, not the right monster. Wendy's not a monster. And they're all like, yeah, okay, let's get out of here. And pretty much like Mabel and Sue's like, wow, we're like total heroes. Let's get out of this. Let's go get some heroes breakfast. And it's like Mabel yells, syrup on cereal. And Dipper tries to save face like Wendy about earlier, was in the heat of the moment. In the heat of the moment. Yay, brain, for just reading random lines, and I can't stop.
Oh yeah, you did you mention the shapeshifter in the tube?
Oh no, yeah, so the shapeshifter's still like alive. They kind of force it into the tube, and then that's when when Mabel is outside and they hit the button, and it's like it is like the most like just like the equivalent of like screw you child, as like he's like, hey Dipper, you think you're so smart, you don't even know what you're against, and guess what, this is what you're gonna look like at the end. It just like shows like Dipper transforms into Dipper and screams just like ah! As he freezes, and it's just like, dude, Dipper's gonna have nightmares, man.
Yeah, Seuss literally says good luck sleeping tonight.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, just like, man, like it really reminds me of like the like reading this transcript and watching the episode. I'm like, what was in this episode that said it was okay to do this?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, it's very much like it reminds me like where South Park, when they made their movie, they knew like certain jokes weren't going to get made, so they purposely put in things that were so bad or like so pushing the limit that they knew it was going to get cut, so they could keep the actual jokes they wanted. And it worked. So it's like, did they do that? But anyway, so
yeah, so heat of the moment with Wendy.
Yes. And like Dipper's like, can we just like forget about that stuff? I'm sorry. And like Wendy's like, hey, I knew. Like, I hear you talking under your breath. And Dipper's like, oh. But Wendy's like, pretty much like, no, man, I like hanging out with you and everything, but like, I'm too old for you. And it's just like you know, pretty much. And he's like, when Mabel's like, Dipper said, Mabel said this would make me feel better. And he's like, how do you feel? Anxious, scared, and kind of itchy. But then Wendy's like, pretty much just like, no, like this summer would have been super boring, and then you guys showed up, and it's like I had so much more fun, and it's just like, you stopped being my friend, like I would throw myself down into a bottomless pit, and it's like, wait, what? do you know about that? And so there's like, well, things won't be too awkward now. And well, Wendy brings up the very clear line, the very thing. He's like, I just wrestled myself. That was awkward. And it's just like, and yeah, so they're like, okay, friends, and like, yeah, we're friends. And they go forward, and Wendy's like, okay, movie night tomorrow, but pretty much where they're staying. And Mabel's like, as they were in the bushes, and they're like, so how'd it go? And he's like, did you guys hear that? And Mabel's like, everything, all the time. Just creeper child.
And Seuss is like, I'm not here.
Yeah. And so Dipper definitely like, oh man, how come everything's so amazing, terrible at the same time? And Mabel apologizes for being so pushy, and it's like, hey, I'm already working on a list for potential rebound crushes. And yeah, pretty much Dipper's like, okay, thanks, buddy. And as the log lifts up, as Sue sits down and just like brings it back, like it's kind of a bummer we never found the scientist guy. It's like, hey, but at least I still have his science code in the briefcase. And the briefcase opens up, and it's this like old school laptop. And Sue's like, everyone's like, oh my goodness, this is something we could do. And Sue's like, you know what, I could probably fix this. And as it shows property of F and then MO52584. And then we go to the end credits, where it's Dipper and Wendy just watching a movie on TV, and he's like, is it just me or does Gravity Falls TV have the worst movies? To where it's the TV voice and it's like, the what? It's like, what? Coming up next, the Whittlest Vampire, the planet of people of planet. The planet people of planet. Hell, my mummy's a werewolf. Attack of the exclamation points is 1,000,000 exclamation points. The man with no taste. Ghost turtle. Hell, my mummy's a werewolf too. This again. And as Dipper's like, do you never want to watch this channel again?
Yeah, it's the bargain movie showcase.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I skipped the first line. Anyway, yeah. And apparently the key at the end is like, what kind of disaster indeed? So, yeah. As you said, episode of growth. It kind of, one of the things, like, if definitely had to be addressed eventually, and it's like, it's good that I guess it was addressed so
straightforward
early. Yeah, straightforward and like so early in season 2. And then it's like, okay, well, I guess this is why people so on this wiki there's like people that like write like different articles and stuff, and there's like one of them is like, who's your Gravity Falls shipping thing? And I'm like, I didn't even know those were options. And so
you just saw it pop up on the side.
Yeah, I think it was last week. It's like the discussion. There's this person, like, I think every time we're on here, it's like this. I'm not gonna say their name, but is it like, if you? I don't know if you have it up, but it's like discussion activities. If you scroll past popular pages, the person's name in red is always putting stuff up, and I'm like, okay.
The particular page I was on did not have it up, but I see.
Yeah. So
yeah, a couple hours ago.
Yep. Let's see. That's why I refresh it. Do I get anything new? Oh, they're gone.
Okay. So yeah. So for character revelations, because we said it's growth, we still know that Robbie is still persistently texting Wendy about being sad about their breakup. D-Payne covered the lumberjack competition and things like that.
I was like, who the heck is D-Payne? I'm like, who's that in this episode? Oh, that's me.
Wendy admits to the Dipper crush, being like, I can hear you when you whisper next to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then the major things we got revealed to us about the author, that they are male, engaged in experiments during research, 6 fingers, which matches the covers of all the journals, quote, hasn't been himself, end quote, for 30 years, and the owner's first initials F.
For fantastic.
Yeah, so who, I'm doing this because I'm hungry now.
Yep.
Who would you say you were most like this episode?
This is the tough part, because it's like, there's only like 6 characters.
Yeah, you have Seuss, who's kind of tagging along and is the comedic relief.
Yeah.
You have Mabel, who's concocting secret plans, but she also likes to play Cupid and is like a very romanticized viewpoint on things. Dipper, who is dealing with his 2 obsessions at the same time.
Yeah.
And then Wendy, who is excited to go on an adventure and, exceeds at it. And then you have the shapeshifter.
The shapeshifter, and then Grunkle Stan bribing people.
For like 2 seconds.
He's still in there. Yeah. It's, I don't know, because it, like, with these episodes, like, it's so difficult when there's like a ton of characters to choose from, because like it feels like not everyone gets like a good focus to choose from. But that's equally as hard where it's just like it's a very focused, specific episode. And it's like, man. Because, like, I don't know. There's parts of me where it's just like, I could see myself being Dipper, where it's just like I know who I'm not, Mabel. Like in this episode, I'm definitely not like, the only time I kind of like push and encourage people is not relationships, but it's just like, I've been thinking about doing this thing. Like, yeah, do it. Like it's like, I don't care who you date or whatever, but like, you want to try to do this thing that you are interested in, yeah, do that.
Go for it.
Yeah, but that's not what Mabel's doing. And so it kind of comes between, because like I've done what Seuss has done, is just make jokes and all this stuff, and like I've done a half what Dipper has been doing, and it's like I've also been in the, you know, I might say Dipper now, because it's like I never really been like the, but so focused on like a specific person, whereas as Dipper has been, but I have been in situations where it's just like, oh my goodness, this is so cool, I want to do this. And then I'll have like people like, but hey, there's this person, like you should talk to them. And I was like, no, I'm doing this thing.
I'm too busy.
Yeah. And now, who knows? Did that bite me in the butt 30 years later?
I don't know. Have you not been yourself for 30 years?
Oh, F. Write me down as F. That's what all my friends would call me today, because it's like, Itisdpayne, why don't you come hang out? I was like, why don't you do anything more fun than just drink when you're away from your kids?
F for final answer?
Sure, why not? I don't really,
you don't
like
relate too much.
I don't relate with anybody. It's like
the autofill said free pizza guy.
Yeah, I'll be him too.
Yeah, he could be somewhere in town. For me, for the most like, yeah, this is a weird one. I feel like oddly enough, I'm more Wendy in this episode. Not necessarily for grandiose, like, adventuring stuff, but one of those things where, like, there is sometimes it's easy to tell that someone is, like, maybe wants you to be more than a friend, but I'm willing to be the person that's like, look, I like you as a person. If you're not going to confess to me, I'm not going to make things weird. I'm going to just keep chugging along. And then if you confess to me, I'd be like, I mean, I knew, but I don't feel the same way. Like, it's sorry. I'm a lot meaner than Wendy, though. There's one guy in high school. I didn't know all the signs, but then I started to realize the signs a little bit too late. And I was like, was I accidentally flirting? But also, it's not fair to put that on the other person, right? If you're just being nice, it's not fair to feel guilty for leading someone on. Unless, you know, there are people that do it on purpose. But I didn't realize what I was doing. Because one time he was like, do you want to borrow my hoodie? I was like, okay. You know, like, tiny things. And then one day he like whispered in my ears like, I have a crush on you, do you want to start dating? And I said, how about you ask somebody that actually likes you?
I'm keeping the hoodie.
I was like, I know she has a crush on you. And he was like, wait, what? Is this no? I was like, it's a no. I was trying to be nice to be like, somebody else has a crush on you that's in this gym class as well. And he was like, but I don't want to date her. And I was like, okay, but I don't want to date you.
And it's like, now you know where I'm coming from. Yeah.
And then that's another reason why I don't play MMOs. I'm sure I've shared that story a number of times, where I broke 2 hearts in one day.
Neat.
By simply existing.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't know this was a romantic relationship. And they're like, you cheated on me. I was like, I'm 15.
Yeah. It's, as you were telling that story, I remembered my own story that is, it's sort of in the same vein, but it is completely different. The way I'm like saying this, it makes me sound a whole lot worse, but it's like, it was, I used to be a youth leader for my church, and like we were going on this retreat pretty much, and I had to drive down, and like normally I just drive by myself. Like I borrow one of my dad's truck, and we loaded like all the suitcases and stuff in there. And so like we did that, and normally I'm like, whatever, I'm just riding by myself. I don't care, just put on whatever. Well, the youth pastor put this person in the car, and so we're talking. I'm like, I'm being nice and all that stuff, and like whatever, and like we get out, and it's and so yeah, like we go through that whole trip and everything, like both ways and all that stuff, and I'm just like, okay, whatever, just second person. I found out years later from someone else that was planned for this girl to be in the truck with me and by the youth pastor.
Oh my goodness.
But the thing is the youth pastor comes up to me at the end of, I don't know if it was like after we got out, like at the place. He's like, so what do you think of this person, the girl that was in my truck? And my response was like, who's that? I had no clue who was sitting in the truck the whole time.
Oh no.
And he's like, well, I guess that didn't work out.
The matchmaking didn't match or make.
It's like, yeah, so if it's very obvious that I really don't align with anybody in this episode,
that is why.
It's like, yeah, I don't even remember when I'm being set up.
Do you have a favorite though? Yeah.
It's not so much funny, but it's like, it's just such like a neat / metal concept. I really like the shapeshifter.
I like him too.
It's like, it's not so much our norm, like I think the normal premise of like, this guy made me laugh the whole time. It's like, that dude was metal as all get out. He's just like, hey Dipper, you tricked me, but guess what? This is you.
That was a really like good scene, and that was written really well. I think part of me wants to put the shapeshifter, but I'm also leaning towards Seuss, because Seuss has that magical ability to have saved the day without ever trying. He wanted to go like cosplay as a scientist and was like, well, look at the suitcase, and they're like, you figured out our next clue, and Seuss is like, oh yeah, give me duct tape, I'll figure it out. He's very like whatever about it. Like everybody else is like on 10, and Seuss is just like, hey guys.
I'm just here. So yeah, no, Seuss is a good one as well. It's
I think I'm gonna put Seuss.
With that. You know what, the more and more I think about it, I'm like, yeah, F is the most like, I'm not even in the same realm of relationships.
Yeah, everybody is like fighting within themselves, trying to like figure out all their feelings, and F is like, I have bigger problems.
Yeah, actually fighting.
I'm fighting all of my demons, inner and outer, at the same time.
Just like what we talked about before.
And also last episode, we get to find out what that inner demon is.
Jim Carrey.
No, it's just your favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, it was the end of, not last episode.
It was 2 episodes ago. Yeah, or three episodes.
Yes. It doesn't feel like that long ago.
It was like our favorite character, what, from 2 episodes ago? Seuss's grandma?
She's the inner demon.
Could you imagine Ebler and Bill Cipher doing the Dragon Ball Z fusion dance? And it's like, I will destroy you after I vacuum these walls.
Everything summoned would be vacuums.
Oh, man. Oh, that's not the wiki. This is a YouTube video. There we go.
But I will say, thank you everybody for listening. We always appreciate it. Would appreciate ratings, reviews, comments, sharing with others. They all help us out a ton, and we have a lot of fun doing this. And if you have fun listening, we'd love for you to share it with other people and help other people find us. I'm really hungry, so put in your final thoughts before I just disappear.
All right, final thought is the next episode is the one that I kept referencing multiple episodes. So, and then last final thought is, bye!